option, option, option. So, let's talk about the word option. As a verb, it means to choose or select something from several possibilities. Like, she opted for the vegetarian meal. Here, she had multiple choices and picked one. As a noun, an option is a choice or possibility that someone can consider. Such as, I have 3 options for my next trip: Paris, Rome, or Barcelona. Commonly, we use option to talk about choices in situations like job offers, educational paths, or even financial investments. People often weigh their pros and cons before making an informed decision. A special note is that the word opt, from which option comes, means to choose. So when we say someone has an option, it's literally a choice they have available to them. In a formal setting, such as a job interview, you might say, I'd like to consider this position an option for my next career move. Here, option is used to convey that being hired would be a desirable and feasible choice. In contrast, in casual conversation with friends, you might exclaim, having dinner at the new restaurant downtown sounds like a great option to me. In this case, option implies a viable and appealing alternative among several possibilities. Meanwhile, in a business or academic context, such as a meeting discussing marketing strategies, someone might propose, we could consider offering 2 different pricing options for our customers. Here, option is used to present a specific plan or choice among multiple alternatives, with the goal of increasing customer satisfaction and sales. Hey there. So you want to know about this thing that helps people make decisions when they have multiple choices? It's basically a way to consider different possibilities and choose the best one for a particular situation. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you have 3 types of dessert to choose from: cake, ice cream, or a fruit tart. You can think about which one sounds the most delicious, or which one will make your stomach feel happy, and then pick that one. This helps people decide what to do when they have multiple choices. And it's like having a little guide in their head that says, okay, let me weigh up my options, but we just call it a way to choose the best choice for you. Output, output, output. Let's talk about the word output. As a language teacher, I'd be happy to break it down for you. So, output is a noun that refers to the amount or quality of something produced, such as a product, a service, or even a performance. In common usage, you might hear phrases like, the output of our factory increased by 20% last quarter, or, her output on the stage was impressive. One special note about its usage is that while it's often used to talk about physical goods, it can also refer to intangible things like data, energy, or even ideas. The key thing to remember is that output always means what comes out of something, whereas input would mean what goes into it. So think of output as the result of an action, process, or system. In formal writing, such as in an academic article, you might say, the team's research findings were published in a journal with a significant output of 50 peer-reviewed papers over the past year. In this context, output refers to the result of their research efforts, which was substantial enough to warrant publication. In casual conversation, like chatting with a friend who works at a graphics design company, you could say, I'm so impressed that they managed to increase their output by 30% last quarter. That's amazing. Here, output is used to describe the quantity of work or products produced by the company, which has seen a notable improvement. In business settings, such as in a meeting with clients, You might say, we're committed to delivering high-quality solutions within a reasonable timeframe, while also ensuring a consistent output that meets your expectations. In this context, output refers to the results or deliverables produced by a project or team, which are expected to meet specific standards. So, you're trying to figure out what output means. Well, in simple terms, output refers to the result or end product of some process or activity. Imagine you're working on a puzzle and finally complete it, that's your output. The main characteristics of output are that it's usually something tangible or visible, like a written document, a picture, or even just an idea. When people talk about output, they often use similar concepts or synonyms like product, result, or conclusion. In terms of what it does or how it's used, output can be anything from a creative project to a report at work, really. Anytime you're trying to present something you've made or achieved. Does that make sense? Overall. 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 As a language teacher, I'd be happy to explain the word overall. The word overall is a preposition that can be used in various ways, but its most common meaning refers to something that affects or involves everything or everybody. In terms of part of speech, it's a preposition that can also function as an adjective when modifying nouns. For example, you might say, the overall plan was successful, where overall is describing the plan. Or, I'm happy with my overall health, where overall is describing your health in general. The word overall is often used in situations where we want to talk about a broader picture or a general impression, such as when discussing results, experiences, or opinions. One special note about its usage is that it can be confused with other words like all over, which has a different meaning, typically indicating something is spread out or covering everything, as in, the flowers are all over the garden. Here are 3 practical example sentences using the word overall, along with a brief context explanation for each. In a formal setting, such as a job interview or a university lecture, you might say, overall, I believe that our company's sales have increased by 15% over the past quarter, which is a significant improvement from last year's figures. This sentence uses overall to summarize a larger trend or pattern, giving a general impression of how things are going. The context here is professional and polished, reflecting the tone and language typically used in formal settings. In casual conversation with friends at a dinner party or during a weekend get-together, you might say, overall, I had an amazing time on my vacation to Tokyo. The food, the scenery, the people, everything was just incredible. In this context, overall is used to give a general feeling or impression about the experience as a whole. The tone here is relaxed and conversational, with the goal of sharing and discussing personal experiences. In a business or academic setting, such as a meeting or a research paper, you might say, overall, our data analysis suggests that the new policy has had a positive impact on customer satisfaction, but there are some limitations to its effectiveness. Here, overall is used to summarize the main findings or results of an investigation or study. The context is formal and objective, reflecting the tone and language typically used in business or academic settings where data-driven decision-making is crucial. So you want to know about this thing called overall. Well, an overall is basically a long-sleeved shirt that has lots of pockets and is usually made of sturdy material like cotton or polyester. It's like a cross between a t-shirt and a jacket, but it's not meant to be worn on its own. It's more like a utility item that you put over your clothes. Think of it like a superhero cape, but for everyday tasks. The pockets are super useful for carrying small things like pens, phones, or tools. So it's great for people who need to keep their hands free while doing stuff. Some people also call it a work shirt or an utility shirt. And it's commonly used in workplaces or for outdoor activities where you might get dirty.